Shalom. All praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Double honors to the elders, slash apostles at Great Millstone. And Shalom to all the sincere brothers scattered abroad.
This is Jeremiah 2:14. Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? The young lion roared upon him.
What's poppin', bro?
And yield. And they made his name. Jeremiah 2:14. Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave?
Right. The scripture says, is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? And the answer to that is no, because Jacob is Yasha Allah, which means he is the prince of the power. We were meant to be kings. We were meant to be the rulers of this earth. We were not meant to be in slavery. The Most High put us here to punish us.
25-22?
Yeah.
This is Genesis 25 and 22. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord.
Right, now this is talking about Rebecca. Abraham and Rebecca, Salaki, Isaac and Rebecca. She had twins in her womb, which were Esau and Jacob. And they were fighting together within her womb. And that proves that we would never get along with the so-called white man, because we were enemies in the womb. We were never meant to get along with each other. And that's why there's all types of race wars and stuff like that.
And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb.
2 nations are in thy womb.
And 2 manner of people,
2 different kinds of people,
shall be separated from thy bowels.
The key word there is separated.
And the one people shall be stronger than the other people.
The people that is stronger is talking about the nation of Israel.
And the elders shall serve the younger.
The elders shall serve the younger.
And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over, like a hairy garment.
The first came out red all over like a hairy garment. If you look around, that's these white people. Because they're not really white. Just like we're not really black. You know, our skin shines. It's a beautiful brown color. But their color, they got fucking leprosy. You know, their pigmentation is gone. And that's what his name means, basically. He wasted away his pigmentation.
And the first came out red all over like an hairy garment. And they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out. And his hand took hold on Esau's heel. And his name was called Jacob.
Right. His hand took hold on Esau's heel. His name was called Jacob. Because
Jeremiah 2:14. Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave?
the answer to that is no. The scripture just told you that the elders shall serve the younger. And the elders talking about Esau, the so-called white man.
Second Ezra 6 and 54, right? Okay. This is Second Ezra 6 and 54. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes.
I know which one you want to look at. I was just about to go to it.
Oh, it's the right one.
It's the one where he says,
Oh, okay. This is Second Ezra 6 and 9. So actually, I'm going to start with 8. This is Second Ezra 6 and 8. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau, Esau.
Right, now we just read that in Genesis. Jacob man took the hill of Esau.
For Esau is the end of the world.
Esau is the end of the world. And that's the times we're living in now. You can look around, you can tell it's the end. You can feel it in the air. Every time you walk outside. You know, every time we come downtown, you can feel it in the air. There's all type of fucking weirdos, all type of demons out here. If you can't tell it's the end, it's because the Most High blinded you. Esau is the end of the world. White man goes all over the world with democracy and try to convert people to get down how he get down, with homosexuality, with having his woman above men, you know, with having his woman in the army and shit like that, making GMO food. He wants everybody to be like him, to convert unto his ways.
For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. The hand of man is betwixt the heel and the hand. The question, Ezra, asked thou not.
Right, so that whole Jacob grabbed his Esau's heel, that was symbolic, because the Most High is going to give his elect that power, and they're going to take down the so-called white man. And then he's going to establish his kingdom through Yahweh Shai. Under 144,000 are going to be under Yahweh Shai, and they're going to rule forever with a rod of iron. You know, and we're not going to ever come out of rulership.
This is Ecclesiastes 10 and 7. I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. He that diggeth the pit shall fall into it, and whoso breaketh an hedge, a serpent shall bite him.
Whosoever diggeth the pit shall fall therein. And that's what they're doing with these whole Ebola holes. You know? That's what they're doing with colleges, with hospitals. That's all a pit. This whole country is a pit. The scripture say whoever dig a pit gonna fall therein. And that's why Jacob's hand gonna take hold of Esau's heel. You know, because he's gonna get caught in his own snare. And the scripture say, I have seen servants walking. So like I've seen servants upon horses and the princes walking. And those horses are those cars, those planes, and even actual horses. It's like down there in New Orleans, they got a whole lot of police upon horses. You can see them in the frisk courts. And you can see that in downtown Rochester too. And you also see it all over the world. Because I was watching the video in the Bay Area and I see it. You know? And you can also watch that movie, The Django, and you can see it also.
We're always going to see the other nations upon their horses and their chariots, and the majority of our people walking, man. Taking the bus, walking, getting rides. We're not the type of people that's going to be able to establish a good,
how y'all doing, gentlemen?
a good habitation here. This is not our rest. The scripture says this is not our rest. So anything you build here is not going to fucking last. So why you build it? The only thing that you're supposed to be building is the camps in spirit and in truth and in righteousness. You're supposed to be building up in faith of Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by works and by grace and by that faith in those names, doing the work, coming out.
So, I ain't gonna tell you this
Oh,
one.
51? Go ahead. Jeremiah 51 and
It's Jeremiah 51 and 19. The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance.
Israel is the rod of his inheritance. It doesn't say no other name, no other nation, no other people. Only Israel.
The Lord of hosts is his name. Thou art my battle axe and my weapons of war. For with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms, and with thee will I break in pieces the horses and his riders, and with thee will I break in pieces the chariots and his riders. With thee also will I break in pieces man and woman, and with thee will I break in pieces old and young, and with thee will I break in pieces the young man and the maid.
Right. So Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to get his elect that power to humble the so-called white man because they're proud as hell. They got all type of cars. They got all the technology because they're working through the left-hand side through Satan. And Satan gives them the power over technology. The Most High says that he's going to use his nation of Israel, his weapons of war, to break all this shit up. So the Most High is going to give his men spiritual power. They're going to have fun with all this shit. Like, if you ever play that game Street Fighter, when they be beating up the car and shit, that's what the Most High gonna have us do. And we gonna be fucking this whole place up.
Exodus, so 1 and 11?
Yeah.
This is Exodus 1 and 11. Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burden. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, what's that? Python and Ramesses.
Right.
But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. And they were grieved because of the children of Israel.
Now, if you, I watched this documentary on Russia Today. It's about how they took down the Native Americans. And at the end of it, it says that by the time like 2020, something like that, the Native American population is going to outnumber the whole entire Caucasian population. So basically, the children of Israel are still multiplying. And they still breed because of that. Because this is Egypt all over again. You know? This is the new Egypt. That's why they have a dollar. So like, that's why they have a pyramid on the back of the dollar bill. Because this is the new Egypt.
That's clear. We have more babies than any other race of people, man. You know, they broke as hell. We still have babies like rapid. So yeah, that's just evidence right there, man.
And I went to this, I took this history class and the shit, and they had the slavery in Brazil. They said the slaves down there, they said the only way we can get through the slavery is by multiplying. So they said the more they oppressed them, the more that they started to multiply. And that goes back to the scriptures. Which proves this is Egypt all over again, because that happened when Christopher Columbus came over to the islands, to the New World.
Which goes to the scriptures, there's nothing new under the sun. If it happened once, it's going to happen again. You didn't learn the first time. Go ahead. No.
You got some bad guys, 1 and 6.
This is Haggai, chapter 1, verse 6. Ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put them into a bag with holes.
Right, so this white man got us in slavery to where we have to go to work or we can't provide for ourselves. We'll be all fucked up. Or we have to be on some type of government assistance to take care of ourselves. And the scripture said, you work, you have sown, but you bring in little. You go to work all week, but you only get a weak-ass paycheck, or you can barely take care of yourself. You work all week.
Yeah, I got something to add on to it. This is Hosea 5 and 12. They have dealt treacherously against the Lord, for they have begotten strange children. Now shall a month devour them with their portions. Which goes back to you ain't gonna never have enough. You're gonna have enough money, never have enough food, never have enough clothing. Within a month. That's why the Israelites are always gonna be on fucking welfare as long as the so-called white man's in power. You ain't never gonna get to your full potential of being a god on earth because you guys would rather be homeborn slaves for the white man. Go ahead, brother. You got anything else?
This is Lamentations 5 and 1. Remember, O Lord, what is come upon us. Consider and behold our reproach. Our inheritance is turned to strangers. Our houses to aliens.
Our heritage is turned to strangers, and our houses to aliens.
We are.
That's talking about the Holy Land, the land of Israel. You got a bunch of Khazars over there. You know, which means the pig Jews.
Con.
The